On Halloween 2009, kayakers on a quiet Kentucky creek found a rusting 186-foot steel hull half swallowed by mud, and had no idea they were looking at one of the most extraordinary vessels in American history. In the 10th place, the saga begins in an era of opulence and ambition. In 1901, Manhattan industrialist John Rogers Maxwell Sr. commissioned a yacht for $250,000, a staggering sum equivalent to nearly $7 million today. Forged in steel by Pusey and Jones of Wilmington, Delaware, and launched on April 12, 1902, the vessel stretched 186 feet, powered by a 4-cylinder triple expansion steam engine capable of 1,200 horsepower and speeds exceeding 15 knots. The interior boasted mahogany-paneled staterooms and electric lighting throughout, a marvel for its time. Docked among the floating palaces of New York's elite, Vanderbilt, Morgan, Astor, this was not just a ship, but a status symbol, embodying the Gilded Age's competitive grandeur before the tides of history would transform her forever. Number 9. The transformation is abrupt and absolute. On July 3, 1917, the U.S. Navy seizes the once lavish yacht from Manton Metcalf and hauls it to the gas engine and power company yard in Morris Heights, New York. The elegant masts are stripped away, the sides raised for protection, and the decks bristle with new firepower. A 57mm gun, two 37mm guns, Colt machine guns, and racks for depth charges. Now commissioned as USS Sachem SP-192, the vessel is swept into the 3rd Maritime District, patrolling the Atlantic coast from New York down to the Florida Keys. Its mission, hunt German U-boats, trading Gilded Age luxury for the cold urgency of war. 8th place, the Sachem enters a chapter stranger than naval patrol or luxury yachting, a floating weapons laboratory for Thomas Edison himself. In the spring of 1917, with the world at war, Secretary of the Navy Josephus Daniels handed the ship and a 25-person crew to Edison, then 70 years old and nearly deaf. From August through October, the inventor transformed the vessel into an experimental base on Long Island Sound, testing smoke screens to hide ships, magnetic submarine detectors, and new ways to evade torpedoes. Surviving letters between Edison and Daniels, preserved at the National Park Service in Rutgers, document the urgency and frustration of these months. Louis Luder's photographs from August 1917 capture the Sachem vanishing behind billowing smoke, evidence of a moment when the boundaries between science, war, and the improbable converged on a single steel hull. Number 7. The Edison chapter takes a sharp turn from promise to frustration. Aboard the Sachem, Thomas Edison poured his energy into military innovation, developing as many as 50 anti-submarine inventions. Among them, a kite rudder designed to let a fully loaded cargo ship pivot 90 degrees in just 200 feet, a maneuver that would have been impossible for conventional vessels, which needed 1,000 feet to turn. Yet in a 1923 interview, Edison revealed a bitter truth. Every invention, from the smoke screens to the magnetic detectors, was shelved by the Navy without a single one seeing operational use. The floating laboratory became a symbol of ambition stifled by bureaucracy, its legacy measured not in victories but in a stack of disregarded blueprints. The scale of invention, paired with total rejection, marks this as one of the strangest ironies in the Sachem's long and improbable journey. Number 6. The ship slips into the shadows of prohibition and economic collapse, reinventing itself once again. In the 1920s, Philadelphia banker Roland Leslie Taylor acquires the vessel, and it becomes a mothership for rum running, part of the vast illicit web supplying alcohol along the Atlantic coast. By 1932, the Depression has changed everything, and Brooklyn fisherman Jacob Martin takes ownership, refitting the ship for charter fishing off New York and New Jersey. Folklore claims that Presidents Warren G. Harding and Herbert Hoover enjoyed private cruises aboard during this era, though no primary record confirms these visits. In 1935 and 1936, Martin oversees a major mechanical overhaul, installing a 7-cylinder Fairbanks-Morse diesel engine reportedly capable of 805 horsepower. This new heart extends the ship's life, preparing it for service in another war. Through crime, commerce, and mechanical rebirth, The vessel endures, its identity shifting with the tides of American fortune. Number 5. The old vessel is called back to duty as the world plunges into a second global conflict. On February 17, 1942, just 10 weeks after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Navy repurchases the ship for $65,000, a fraction of its original luxury price, but a steep sum for a vessel already 4 decades old. At Robert Jacobs Incorporated in City Island, New York, the transformation is swift and total. The hull is reinforced, and the ship is reborn as USS Finnegate, designated PYC-25. Now armed with a 3-inch naval rifle, 450 caliber Browning machine guns, 2 racks for depth charges, and a Thompson submachine gun, she patrols the Florida Keys and serves as a training platform for sonar operators. Yet, in a twist that echoes her earlier service, not a single shot is fired in anger. For the second time, the ship is armed for war but sees no enemy action, a silent witness to conflict, its steel hull carrying the weight of readiness and the irony of unused firepower. Number 4. The ship enters its most public chapter as Circle Line 5, a floating landmark on the waterways of New York. In 1946, Circle Line Sightseeing Cruises acquires the vessel and transforms it into a workhorse of mass tourism, refitting her to carry nearly 500 passengers at a time. For more than 30 years, under the command of Norwegian Master Mariner Sir Harold Logg, Circle Line 5 becomes the flagship of the fleet, tracing a daily route beneath the Brooklyn Bridge and through the swirling currents of Hellgate. Each 3-hour tour along the Harlem Ship Canal offers city dwellers and visitors a new perspective on Manhattan, yet few among the estimated 2.9 million passengers ever suspect the hidden layers beneath their feet. Edison's welded-over laboratory deck, the steel scars of wartime gun mounts, all disguised beneath fresh paint and the rhythms of the city. The ship's secret history passes unnoticed, carried along by the tide of everyday life. Coming to the top 3, the Sachem survival story takes a turn that borders on the improbable. In the early 1980s, Robert Miller spotted the forgotten Circle Line 5 half buried in the mudflats of West New York, New Jersey, and struck a deal for $7,500. Extracting the ship was no simple salvage. 10 days of bulldozer work were needed to free the hull from decades of sediment. Miller rechristened her Sachem and set his sights on a public debut. On July 4, 1986, the vessel docked at the Statue of Liberty for the torch relighting, a ceremony broadcast nationwide with President Ronald Reagan presiding. That same summer, Madonna's production team approached Miller at the dock, and the ship made a fleeting appearance in her Papa Don't Preach music video. But the true feat was yet to come. A 2,600-mile journey, 40 days through the Erie Canal, the Great Lakes, down the Mississippi, and finally up the Ohio River. The ship that had once patrolled Atlantic waters now threaded its way deep into the American interior, propelled by stubborn will and a belief that history, no matter how battered, could still move forward. Number 2, the Sachem saga enters its most haunting chapter. After a journey that spanned oceans and eras, the ship ran aground in Taylor Creek, Boone County, Kentucky, a casualty of falling Ohio River water levels and the fading ambitions of its last owner. Robert Miller, who had piloted the vessel thousands of miles inland, left the project unfinished and moved to Mexico, passing away in 2016. For more than 20 years, the once celebrated hull sat abandoned, rusting in the shallows while trees pierced the rotting deck and the name Circle Line 5 faded to a ghostly trace. The ship became a silent landmark known only to locals and trespassers until, on Halloween 2009, a group of kayakers stumbled upon the wreck and reignited public curiosity. Their discovery led to the formation of the Sachem Project, a grassroots effort to document and preserve what remained. In August 2024, the vessel's name appeared in the Federal Register as a pending nomination for the National Register of Historic Places, a rare chance for formal recognition. Yet even as its story edges toward the light, the Sachem remains locked in a limbo between memory and oblivion, its corroded steel a stark reminder of how quickly history can slip beneath the surface. And finally, in first place, a single ship emerges as the living thread tying together the American century. The vessel that began as a Gilded Age yacht for the likes of Maxwell, Vanderbilt, and Morgan would pass through the hands of inventors, admirals, bootleggers, and millions of anonymous tourists. Thomas Edison's World War I smokescreen experiments, captured in the August 1917 photographs, now preserved in National Archives, mark both a literal and symbolic moment of vanishing, first behind plumes of engineered smoke, then into the fog of forgotten history. The same hull would serve in 2 world wars, brush against Prohibition-era crime, and later become Circle Line 5, carrying nearly 3 million passengers around Manhattan. Presidents stood on her decks. A Madonna music video immortalized her silhouette. Yet for 22 years, the ship lay invisible in a Kentucky creek, its story nearly erased. In August 2024, the pending nomination for the National Register of Historic Places signals a long-delayed recognition, 123 years after her launch. The Sachem remains rusting in Taylor Creek, Boone County, Kentucky, a silent witness to eras that rarely meet, proof that the most astonishing chapters of history can hide in plain sight. Across all 10 chapters, one truth emerges. The most astonishing stories are often buried in plain sight. The SS Sachem's journey, luxury, war, invention, celebrity, obscurity, reveals how history's sweep can vanish beneath rust and silence. Even legends can be forgotten, waiting to be discovered anew.